What's up, guys, and welcome back into Breaking Boards. In today's episode, we're going to give you my top 5 stacks for the NFL main slate over on DraftKings for week number 5. We have a 10-game slate on tap, and I can't wait to jump into this thing and break it down with you guys. If you get anything out of the content, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I do break down every NFL slate throughout the season on DraftKings. Again, glad you all could be here. Before we jump into the top stacks for the week, if you'd like some additional content breakdown, you will see a QR code on your screen. If you scan that, it'll take you to my site. If you go to shop, I will have each game individualized and broken down for you guys as we head into the slate. Typical cost is going to be around $2 per game. So if you want to purchase the entire slate for this weekend, we're talking about $20. I do have Thursday night already up on the site if you want to check that one out as well. Hopefully you guys get something out of that content. Let me know your guys' feedback and what you think, or anything I can include in additional breakdowns for you guys to help you out in your process. If you want to drop those in the comments, cool. Or if you want to send me a DM over on X, you can find me at breaking_boards on X. Again, glad you all could be here, and let's jump into the top 5 stacks for Sunday's main slate. The first matchup I want to talk about here is going to be the Tennessee and Arizona game. I'm going to give you a few different ways that I'm going to be approaching this and give you some ideas and different ways that you can take advantage of this on Sunday, in my opinion. First up, we're going to take a look at Kyler Murray. If you want to pair him alongside DeMarcado or Michael Carter, I don't mind either one of those in a great matchup here against Tennessee, who has been gashed by running backs to start 2025. For the sake of this video, we're going to use Michael Carter. If you want to replace Carter with DeMarcado, I have no problem with that whatsoever. Next up, we have Marvin Harrison Jr., and then finally, we have Trey McBride. This would be my initial stack. I would run it back on the other side with a player like Alec Iomanner, would be my favorite player for Tennessee if I had this build. If we're looking to avoid the cheap running backs for Arizona, you can replace Michael Carter or DeMarcado with Tony Pollard, and your stack would look like this. If you want to keep the running back position for Arizona and you want to get Tennessee pass catcher in there, we can get Alec Iomanner. As we discussed earlier, you can also go with Calvin Ridley if you would like. If you are looking to avoid Trey McBride in the tight end position, you can get him out of there, and you can go with Akakwu, or you can go with Gunnar Helm. Don't mind either of these guys at their reduced price, and that's what that stack would look like. So Arizona would be my number 1 stack of my top 5 for week number 5. For stack number 2, we're going to take a look at the Las Vegas and Indianapolis game. On the Indianapolis side, I would look at Daniel Jones. You can pair him along with Jonathan Taylor. You can pair him along with Michael Pittman Jr., and you can pair him along with Tyler Warren. This would be my preferred stack. If I had this stack in place, I would look to bring it back on the other side with Jacoby Myers or Trey Tucker, but I would lean Jacoby Myers. Again, if you want to get away from the Jonathan Taylor side, you could look to get Ashton Jitty in that lineup as well. If you want to stick with Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones along with Tyler Warren, you could also work in Jacoby Myers or Trey Tucker as a bringback for pass catchers on the Las Vegas side. If you want to keep a pass catcher for Indy in there, and you can go with Pittman, Downs, or Ednai Mitchell if Pierce sits. But if you want to get Daniel Jones, Taylor, and Michael Pittman and get away from Tyler Warren, you could look to add Brock Bowers in that lineup, and that would be how I would break down the stacks for the Indianapolis side for week number 5, and that would be stack number 2 of 5 headed into the main slate on Sunday. For stack number 3, we're going to take a look at the Washington Commanders traveling to take on the Los Angeles Chargers, and we're going to take a look at Justin Herbert. You could also include Omari and Hampton if you would like in those lineups. You could go with Quentin Johnston, Keenan Allen, or Ladd McConkey, and you could also include Arondé Gadsden if you would like. For my preferred stack, I would get away from Omari and Hampton, and I would go 2 pass catchers. I would go Quentin Johnston, and I would go with Ladd McConkey. And then I would also include a cheap Arondé Gadsden. If you want to run it back on the other side with Washington, you could go with either of the injured pass catchers. You do not have to bring it back. And I don't find a lot in this game that I love, so I'm not over the top for bringing back the Los Angeles stack. So if you don't find anything that you like for Washington heading into Sunday, stick away from those guys and just focus on how you're breaking down the Los Angeles side. If you want to, again, get away from one of the pass catchers, let's say you want to get away from McConkey, who hasn't performed well this year, you could go with Omari and Hampton. If you want to get away from not having a running back with your quarterback, you could take Hampton out and you could include Keenan Allen. I'm perfectly fine with Herbert, Omari and Hampton, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, or Aronde Gadsden from the Los Angeles side. And that would break down stack number 3 of 5 for the main slate in the Los Angeles Chargers. For stack number 4, we're going to take a look at the Houston traveling to take on Baltimore game. We're going to have CJ Stroud up top. We're going to have the RB1 for Houston and Woody Marks. And we're going to have Nico Collins. This would be my preferred stack here for Houston, a bit of a skinny stack. If you wanted to run it back on the other side with Derrick Henry, with Zay Flowers or Rashad Bateman, or if you wanted to run it back with Mark Andrews, don't mind that as well. Or if you wanted to include the tight end for Houston, you could include Dalton Schultz in those lineups. So if you had Stroud, Nico, and Dalton Schultz, and you wanted to get Derrick Henry in there, don't mind that lineup at all. If you wanted to keep Woody Marks, a good value here, who exploded in week number 4, you could get him in there. You could get away from Nico. You could get Zay Flowers in there. If you wanted to keep Nico in there and you wanted to get rid of the tight end for Houston, you could get Dalton Schultz out and you could replace with Mark Andrews. Don't mind either of those stacks. A lot of players that you can mix and match in this game. So don't mind getting to this stack. And that would complete stack number 4 for the main slate in the Houston Texans. And finally, stack number 5, and my favorite stack personally for the week would be from the Dallas traveling to take on the New York Jets game. And we have New York Jets quarterback Justin Fields. I would have Fields in the captain spot. I would pair alongside Breece Hall. I would pair alongside Garrett Wilson. And I would pair alongside Mason Taylor if he's healthy. For the sake of this video, we'll assume that he is. So that would be my preferred stack for the New York Jets side. Don't mind including Javonte Williams, who has balled out to start the season, or George Pickens in that lineup. You can also get to Jalen Tolbert if you would like. If you wanted to avoid Breece Hall, you could go Javonte Williams in the running back position. If you wanted to keep Breece Hall in your lineup and you wanted to get away from Garrett Wilson, which I would not do because Garrett Wilson is seeing an insane target share for the Jets, you can go with George Pickens or Jalen Tolbert. If you want to keep Wilson in your lineup and you want to get away from the tight end, this would be my preferred build here. I would go Justin Fields, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Jacob Ferguson. I think this is your number 1 top stack of the week. And that's going to do it for the top stack video. Glad you all could join me for the breakdown of my top 5 stacks for the 10-game main slate over on DraftKings. Again, hopefully you got something out of the content. If you did, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be breaking down all NFL content throughout the NFL season. Again, if you want to scan the QR code and head over to my site, you'll find individualized game-by-game breakdowns for each game for the NFL main slate. They're going to cost you about $2. Again, if you want to purchase all 10, that's about $20. And I'm going to break down, you'll get player-by-player breakdowns, how I'm going to be approaching the slate. You'll get projections, ownership projections, all that will be included in each breakdown and for each player that I think is fantasy relevant for the main slate. Again, I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate all the love on the channel, and I can't wait to talk to you guys next time. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys in the next video.